right. So we've got a bunch of characters. So it's really the story. You've got to tell us. It's a story about 5 men.
Okay, so just in a nutshell, if I had to do an elevator pitch, it's the last significant. It's an overshadowing of my last significant relationships in my adult life. And it is written in chronological order. And the interesting thing to see is that as my relationships were getting better, or as I was getting better, the relationships were. So they're really just a mirror of myself. So there are all these characters, and it starts out when I was 22 years old with my drug addict boyfriend, who's not here. And maybe we can do it.
Yeah. So one of the things I must say for you, those that haven't read the book, she doesn't pull any punches. So somebody just showed me a text message that a married man sent her. And I thought to myself, don't send one to Krystal. Because she wrote about those ones. Everything that happened to her, she wrote about. And what happened, she didn't pull any punches. But tonight we've got a special treat. We have Deborah, mother of houseplants, as a speaker. Well, I was calling her mother of dragons. She said, call me mother of houseplants. Deborah is going to read a few extracts. And what we're going to do, the format of it is we're going to describe each person using a paragraph or two in the book. And then we'll chat to young Krystal and just explain where that comes from. Deborah, let's give her a round of applause.
Okay. First, this is Sean. One incident I recall was around Christmas time, when I went to visit him in a mental institution. When I arrived, I was surprised to find Sean outside with many of the other patients, and even wardens, picking up cigarette butts from the courtyard. Although he greeted me, I wasn't entirely convinced he even recognized me. I'm teaching the others to look after the environment, he told me proudly. I noticed his one hand was full of butts, and in the other, he held a lit cigarette. That was Sean. No matter how far gone he was, his intentions were pure. I guess it was his big heart which made me stick around. I was faithful to him and determined to rescue him. I managed to convince myself I couldn't leave him, and so I diligently stood by my tough guy, showering him with love and support. I was committed.
I loved Sean. In the book, he was just a nice person. He really was a nice person. Not if I was the father of the girl. And so one of the things that I don't know why, when you read about Sean, there's an affection that I feel for him. And it's actually a little bit of a sad story. So tell us a little bit more about
Sean. Okay, so Sean, I mean, he started out when he was a river guide, and I was totally this tough guy, and halfway into the relationship, not halfway, like very early, he had a problem with dope, and he used to continue smoking, and he ended up in a mental institution once a year. And I dated him for 5 years, and it was a classic codependent relationship where I thought I could rescue him. I went in there trying to be this big, brave person and sat with all the medical, his father, trying to save him. And actually, I was just trying to save myself. So I was just trying to rescue him, where instead of holding up the mirror. And eventually, it was enough. I mean, the relationship wasn't a happy place, but I had nothing to compare it to. It was my first love, and this is it. And eventually, I was like, when it could get no worse, I left. And it was weird. I should have left a lot. If I'd known myself better, I guess I would have not left or not even been there in the first place. And he still is mad today. And he still is in love with me. Many years later, yeah.
Most of them seem to still be in love with you.
No, I don't think so.
I think so. You showed me a video the other day, and somebody saw Sean the other day.
Yes. There on your video. So he was pulling his dog, and he had every single thing that he owned in his whole life on him. And I think he's on rollerblades. We should have played it here. It's quite funny. He's like a complete homeless guy, but quite a modern one with his rollerblades and his dog. And I was like, wow. And I think that also, I mean, it's a lot of it is that having acceptance, like coming to terms, because I'm embarrassed like my past, and you can't just erase it. It's there. So it's like coming to terms with like who I am now and how I took someone like that so seriously. And it's like almost embarrassing, but I had to...
That's such a good point. Are you embarrassed about any of these relationships?
Well, embarrassment to write a whole book and tell everyone about it. I think that was my way of like facing it, because I'm married to the most amazing guy now, and like my past is almost like, I mean, Sean's still there, and we'll get into the next characters, I think that was healing for me. It was like writing about it and actually telling the whole world, okay, there, I confess, and no one asked me anything, you know now. And also seeing like where I was and just the healing and like, I think it is almost like a story that I have to tell to help other people. So,
Krystal, I've got a confession to make.
Yeah.
Is the reason your book is so successful is that all of us, somewhere along the line, have had an equally unsuccessful relationship. So when I was reading your book, there were times when I was sort of cringing, you know that when you bend your toes in your shoes, I was like, oh God, she didn't do this, really. And I was bending it. But quite often, I thought, and one of the things when I gave it to my wife to read, she was like, and she got teary once or twice. I said, why are you teary? And she said, oh, I could see myself there. I did exactly the same thing. And I think all of us do those things. And I think if there was a word for Shawnee, and I have a number of people in my family who do the same, is I call them the rescuers.
Yeah. But I was rescuing him. It was totally, 100%. That was my rescue relationship.
The problem with relationships, they're always impossible to rescue.
Yeah.
I always describe this to this one particular family member of mine, and I say, it's like walking around a beautiful apple tree that's full of red and green apples at various stages of ripeness, and you walk round and round and round this tree, deciding which apple is that perfect apple for you. And then you glance down on the ground, and there's an apple that's fallen off, and the worms have eaten it, and it's halfway eaten. And you decide that maybe, if you loved that apple enough, if you looked after it enough, it would become a bright red juicy apple again. And then you pick that one up and you take him home. And that's what rescuers do. We walk around and suddenly realizing that as human beings, we very rarely change.